Okay, good evening, everybody. We're going to get started here. Welcome to the Operation Public Safety Committee meeting. Today's Tuesday, September 20th. Let's get started here. We will start off by doing a roll call.
Thank you. Council President Boyce.
Here.
Councilmember Fincher.
Here.
Councilmember Kaur.
Here.
Councilmember Larmer. Councilmember Michaud.
Here.
Councilmember Thomas. Councilmember Troutner.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, we got, how many items we got today? We got 5. So we'll get started here with item number 3. Going to ask for, there's no changes to the agenda. I'm going to ask for a motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record show unanimous pass. Move on to item number 4A, approval of the minutes.
Move to approve the minutes from September 6th.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record show unanimous pass. Item 4B, payment of the bills. Ask for a motion, please.
Approve the payment of the bills.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Let the record show unanimous pass. Moving on to 4C, resolution allowed community route housing to build middle-income housing within the city of Kent. Mr. Bill Ellis.
Hi, good afternoon, Council President, Council members. I have online actually CEO Chris Pearsons and Community Engagement and Eco District Manager Donna Moody. You've heard a presentation from Community Roots Housing previously at a workshop here at Full Council, and they've joined me today online. I'm bringing forth a motion that just authorizes them as a public development authority to prospect, look for sites, acquire sites, build sites in the city of Kent. This is just following up on the presentation you heard at workshop, but we're available here today to answer any questions that you might have for them or for myself. We're looking forward to working with them in our community and identifying opportunities for them to redevelop. We have a few in mind, of course, but before they're able to work in our community as a public development authority in the creation of the city of Seattle, they need an interlocal resolution. Their board has already passed one identifying wanting to work with in the city of Kent for middle income housing, 60% to 120% AMI. And this would be a reciprocal action on behalf of the council today.
Thank you, Bill. I think we all seen the presentation. What a great opportunity for the city of Kent. So, council member, any questions, thoughts, concern? Okay, I don't see any. So, I'm going to ask for a motion, please.
Mr. Chair, I move to adopt resolution number 2050, authorizing the mayor to sign an interlocal agreement with the city of Seattle that allows Community Roots Housing, a public development authority established by the city of Seattle, to develop affordable middle income and multifamily housing in Kent.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record show unanimous pass. So, Bill, as we move this forward, so the next step is really giving them the authority to go and...
This will provide, after it goes on the consent calendar tonight,
Yep.
you will pass
Yep.
that, I presume. And then from there, we would provide opportunities for them to develop and acquire. And I will come through, I think, Economic and Community Development Department, Development Division, Committee rather, I'm sorry, and then advance projects from there. So,
So when they find this piece of land, so they're working close with you guys? Are you finding the land, or you're working jointly together?
we are talking together, and I am helping identify opportunities in the city of Kent for redevelopment.
Okay.
Wouldn't want to get further ahead than that because that involves the other side of the equation, the property ownership. So, but there are definitely opportunities within our city. We have a bus rapid transit line that's coming in. We have a new comprehensive plan that's in the opening stages of development. So there's a lot changing in the city of Kent, and specifically, I think, along the corridor from their downtown area all the way to the East Hill. And I think having this group working with us as we talk more about tax increment finance districts and other components, I think will really further those opportunities for investment. So I'll be back to committee. This is just to authorize their staff to spend more time to work with me on those locations in our city.
Sounds good. Sound like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back.
I'll be back.
Okay, good. All right, thank you, sir. Okay, let's move on to item number 4D, agreement with Pause Inc. for staff training. You're all going to come up and talk to us? How you doing, sir?
Doing well, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Good afternoon, Council. I'm here to request authorization to move forward with the Pause Inc. contract in the amount not to exceed $154,000. So Pause Inc. has been selected as a consulting group who will be providing the mandatory staff training this year. The training will focus on emotional intelligence. The training will also focus on enhancing communication, reinforcing team relationships, and identifying patterns, triggers, and stress responses that can drive or derail performances. So in the package, we have 12 half-day trainings as well as 2 full-day trainings, and the trainings are scheduled for November and December.
Okay. Any question, team? Seeing none, I'm going to ask for a motion, please. You have a question? Oh, I'm sorry, your light didn't light up. Now it did. Sorry. Councilman McCord.
Thank you, Council President. Thank you, Uriel. Is this also going to be available for council members and other elected
All
officials?
staff, yes. all
Okay,
city staff.
all right, thank you. And I'm
Okay.
ready for a motion if you are,
Please,
President.
thank you.
I move to authorize the mayor to sign a professional services agreement with Pause Inc. for staff training in an amount not to exceed $154,000, subject to final terms and conditions acceptable to Chief Administrative Officer and City Attorney.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let the record show unanimous pass. Just some good stuff here. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to move on to item 4E, agreement with Nelson Electric for correction internal camera. And that'll be Brian. You are good. Councilmember Thomas not here tonight, so you should be good, okay? We told him the meeting started at 5 o'clock, so.
I'm safe then.
You safe.
Thank you. Good evening, Council President, members of the Council. Brian Rambunga, PMO Supervisor with your IT department, here to present for authorization and agreement with Nelson Electric at a total cost not to exceed $150,000. The internal cameras at our Kent Corrections facility have served its useful hardware life cycle and is in need of replacement. It is an analog technology that's over 25 plus years old. These cameras provide live views, enable mitigation of security risks, and increase safety for inmates, staff, and our officers at the Kent Corrections facility. It is equipment that delivers surveillance solutions for greater security. Leveraging our small works roster process, corrections and IT staff selected a system with Nelson Electric Incorporated. It is important to note the city also selected Nelson Electric to install the external cameras over at the Kent Corrections facility as well a few years ago. Nelson Electric will be installing and supporting this new camera technology, network-based camera technology. With that, that concludes my presentation. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Any questions for Brian? No question on behalf of Councilmember Thomas? Okay. Seeing none, I'm going to ask for a motion, please.
Council President, I move to authorize the mayor to sign a public works agreement with Nelson Electric Incorporated in an amount not to exceed $150,000 for the purchase and installation of internal cameras at the Kent Correctional Facility, subject to final contract terms and conditions acceptable to the IT Director and City Attorney.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Let the record show unanimous pass. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it, bud. Okay, 4F, consultant service. This is for our 2024 comprehensive plan update. And we have, that's Kristen, I'm looking at the wrong place. Sorry. Yes.
Hi, I'm new, so nice to meet you all officially. My name's Kristen Holdsworth. I'm the Long Range Planning Manager here in ECD. Thank you, Council President Boyce and council members. I'm pleased to present for your consideration a contract for professional services to assist with our 2024 comprehensive plan update. And this 2024 update is what's called a periodic update, which according to state law is a more holistic evaluation of our existing goals and policies to prepare for the next 20 years. Earlier this year, the city released an RFP to retain consultants and to provide technical expertise on this update, especially for the SEPA environmental review portion. ECD staff are the project managers leading this work, and we plan on coordinating with other departments in the city and our external agencies to ensure consistency with adopted plans and integration for a shared vision. But we will benefit greatly from added support and technical expertise by MIG consultants. A few pieces of the contract that we're really excited about will have a baseline analysis of conditions and review of our current policies, enhanced community engagement efforts to reach the community in ways that they feel comfortable and valued, creating the city's first ever climate change element, and addressing housing options and continued economic growth. So last year, the state legislature passed a bill providing cities and counties some funds for this work. So we are in the process right now of applying for a $325,000 grant. It's actually an allocation, so we'll find out if we officially receive it soon, but we expect to, and that will help offset costs from this contract. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
That's great. That'll be nice.
I also want to give a shout out. Kayleen has done a lion's share of the work and really done a great job negotiating this scope. And so special thanks to her because she's been really working hard to get us all set up so we'll be ready to run when we get this contract signed.
Okay. Councilman Fincher?
I just wanted to give a thanks to Kayleen as well as to Maria and Odiel for the meetings that they've had with some of our residents who are also involved in climate change and environmental issues. So thank you very much for getting that work started and moving for us.
Okay, with that said, I gotta have a motion, please.
Mr. President, I move to authorize the mayor to sign a consultant services agreement with MIG Inc. in an amount not to exceed $544,090 for the 2024 Comprehensive Plan Update, subject to final terms and conditions acceptable to the Economic and Community Development Director and City Attorney.
Second.
Motion and a second. In discussion. Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Let the record show unanimous pass. And did you say you was new?
I am.
When did you start?
September 1st.
September 1st, wow.
Amazing, by the way. She's part of Economic and Community.
Oh, wow, well, we're glad.
Thrown me in front of various councils twice already, so
Glad to have.
good to be here.
Where did you come from prior to?
Prior, I was at the city of Linwood.
Oh, smart decision, join the A-team. All right.
I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we're glad to
Thank
have you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you. All righty. Okay, let's move on to item number G. Commander O'Reilly.
Good evening, Council President and Council members. I'm here to move to authorize the mayor to sign the Third Amendment to the Professional Services Agreement with Vera Mobility, extending the term through May 30th, 2028, and authorizing the installation of additional red light cameras at 6 new locations, subject to the final terms and conditions acceptable to the city attorney and police chief. The purpose of the Third Amendment is to expand the scope of the city's contract with Vera Mobility to add additional red light camera locations and to extend the contract for an additional 5-year term through May 30th, 2028. The red light camera program has shown to be successful in both creating safer intersections in Kent as well as funding the body-worn camera program. Additionally, the cameras act, as you know, as a force multiplier for the police department, especially the traffic unit, which is inundated with traffic complaints, collisions, and investigations. Sergeant Bishop did a whole lot of research into this, and he worked with our traffic officers, police administration, traffic engineering, and we, after that, we identified locations and requested Vera Mobility to study all directions of the following intersections, which were then broken down into each direction of travel with a number of expected violations per day. We have the Southeast 208th and 108th Avenue Southeast, Southeast 240th Street and 116th Avenue Southeast, West Meeker Street and Washington Avenue North, Kent Kangley Road and 116th Avenue Southeast, and South 228th Street and 68th Avenue South. And so that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Okay, any question for Commander? Councilmember Troutner?
Thank you, Council President. Just one quick question. So I know in the past when we do these cameras, we kind of give a warning period because we already have cameras in place, will that be the case for these 6 new locations?
That's a good question, and I would presume that we would do the same as we've stayed with the same protocol.
Okay.
But I can get a confirmation on that.
No
I'm sure
worries.
that's what we're going to do, though.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I will hope so. Yeah, that'd
Indeed.
be great. I know we talk about these here is really around a safety issue, right? So maybe sometime, I know we have cameras that have been out there for a while. It would be nice to be able to see some data when we put those cameras in no area and pretty much where we're at today, just kind of where was the safety here versus here. And maybe that's something you can show us later down the road. But at the end of the day, it is about safety, but also it generate revenue as well, too.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other question, council member? Seeing I'm going to ask for a motion, please.
Council President, I move to authorize the mayor to sign Third Amendment to the Professional Services Agreement with Vera Mobility, extending the term through May 30th, 2028, and authorizing the installation of additional red light cameras at 6 new locations, subject to final terms and conditions acceptable to the city attorney and police chief.
Second?
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, let the record show unanimous pass. So we're going to move on to item number 8, and got to give Paula a hard time because I know since she hired her assistant director, we have not seen her in so long, but it is a well-deserved break. I want you to know that. So,
Thank you very much. I've
Paula.
certainly enjoyed it, Council President Boyce and members of City Council, but fair warning, you're going to be seeing an awful lot of me over the next couple of months. So
we had a break for a while, so we're ready for you now, okay?
Excellent. Well, the reason I'm here today is the State Auditor's Office is coming back to see us once again. Each and every year, they come and perform 3 audits at the city: the financial audit, a single audit, and the accountability audit. The financial audit is really just an opportunity for them to come in and give an independent opinion on our financial statements to tell us whether or not they believe that they fairly present the city's financial picture. The single audit, which a lot of times we call it the grant audit, is because they're coming in to look at some of our grants. Any organization that expends $750,000 in federal grants must go through this audit process. There's 2 grants that are going to be audited this year: the CDBG grant and the Shuttered Venues Operators grant. So both of those will be audited during this period. The final audit that's going to happen is what they call the Accountability Audit. And this is the audit in which they look to see if we're following the laws, policies, and procedures that we have in place, state laws that are in place as well, and that we have controls to ensure that we're following protocols and doing the things that we should be doing to secure the assets of the city. The auditors have actually started kicking off the first 2 audits. That's both the financial audit and the single audit. And they're anticipating finishing up those 2 audits hopefully by October 31st. And then once those are done, they'll move on to that accountability audit. Their goal is to have it done by the end of the year. I, however, am anticipating that's really going to probably roll a little bit into next year. The total amount for this is $160,000 plus any travel or other expenses. Right now, much of the audit's being done remotely, so there's really not a lot of travel that we'll see arise. Some of last year's audit, the 2020 audit, rolled into this year, so we did expend some of our budget already this year. However, we believe we have enough savings in some other line items to be able to absorb the costs of this engagement. So I'd be happy to have answer any questions that you might have on our engagement with SAO for this annual audit.
Any question for Paula, team? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please?
Yes, sir. I move to authorize the mayor and finance director to sign the engagement letter with the Office of the Washington State Auditor for the 2021 audit.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Let the record show unanimous pass. Thank you, Paula. Okay, the last 2 items is info only. Item 4I, we're going to talk about the King County Solid Waste Restructure. And Tony, how you doing, sir?
Hello, thank you, Council President, Council members. Good to see you all. I'm Tony Donati. I'm the Conservation Coordinator in the Public Works Department. You may recall last month we had the King County Solid Waste come and do a presentation on the RE+ program and the solid waste rate restructure for the disposal of municipal solid waste. Well, last week the King County Council voted to delay the implementation of the rate restructure for 1 year until January 1st, 2024. And that will allow cities and their haulers more time to come up with their contract amendments. We'll continue to work with our consultant and our hauler Republic Services to get that in place by the January 1st, 2024 date.
That seemed like a reasonable enough time, right, to get that in place?
Yeah, the original date to get it in place was January 1st of 23, and there was a lot of worry from cities across the county to get that in place, and haulers too. They didn't feel it was enough time, so this delay is going to really help everybody.
Okay. So will there be any more work coming to the council, or just January 2024, it's just going to kick in? Is there any reason us to come back to us for anything else regarding this matter?
You all should know, but if
something changes,
you may need to, if something changes, or if we need to get the approval of the contract amendment, we might have to come back for that.
Okay, good. Any question for Tony, team? Yes.
So notice will be going out to customers though next, even, you're going to update us, but at the time, I would imagine that King County is going to be notifying the residents and businesses. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, the county will put that all in place.
Okay, any other question? Okay, thanks, Tony, appreciate it, bud.
Thank you for having me.
All righty. Last but not least, we're going to do our second quarter investment report. Joe, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Good.
I'm Joe Bartlemay. I'm the Cash and Investment Officer in our Finance Department, and I have for you today the second quarter investment report. So at the end of the second quarter, our total cash and investments were just over $340 million. Market value, just over $330 million. Market value is impacted by the current increasing rate environment, but it does not impact the stated value of our investments at maturity or the interest earnings. It's the value of it, or estimated value at any given point in time. Excuse me. For the earnings credit for our U.S. bank cash account is just over, or just about 1%, tied to the federal funds rate. That earnings credit offsets our banking fees with the U.S. Bank. It's not an actual interest earnings, but a credit towards our fees. State investment pool yields have increased significantly as of recently. The yields at the end of the second quarter were just over 1%. The state pool reacts, it's a very short-term portfolio, so it reacts quickly to the changes in the market, so the rising interest rates will be reflected in future reports for sure. The managed portfolio is currently averaging about 1.1%, has longer duration with laddered maturities up to 5 years. The pie chart below shows the significant allocation to the state investment pool in the red portion, about a third, and about a third in the green and U.S. Treasuries. Here we have a 5-quarter comparison of cash and investments by type. The cash is at the lower portion in the green. That's our cash to meet our daily cash flow needs. The state investment pool is the purple line there, and that's our fairly liquid portfolio. We can transfer cash in and out as needed, or if we have excess funds, we can invest that on a short term. Then the long-term portfolio in the orange section, and that's the managed portfolio up to 5-year duration. Total cash and investments at the top, and you can see the increase year over year. And next we have the 3-year comparison of total cash and investments. One thing to point out, the ARPA funds that we received in June of 2021 and in June of 2022 are reflected in this chart. It shows a significant increase at those points in time. Each year is an increase year over year from the prior year. Next, we have quarterly investment earnings, a 5-quarter comparison. The general fund is the darker blue bar on the left, and all other funds combined on the lighter blue. You can see in the second quarter with the increases in short-term rates, there's a slight increase there. We'll likely see another increase in the third quarter.
Joe, a quick question.
Yes.
She's telling me my chewing is going to get on the microphone, so sorry. Please proceed, Joe.
Next, we have the total cash and investment portfolio by fund. So of that $340 million portfolio overall, you can see which portion or the allocation to each individual fund. There are significant portions in the general fund, the street fund, capital and utility funds, as well as the insurance fund. And those ARPA funds that I mentioned earlier are in the other operating projects fund, the 1900 fund. Here we have the managed portfolio, our long-term portfolio only, and this excludes the cash and the state investment pool. Significant portions in that pie chart are U.S. Treasuries, a little more than half, about a quarter in corporate bonds, and the remaining quarter in various other allowable investment types. And then the lower portion, lower left, the bar chart shows the laddered maturities in our portfolio. This will provide an opportunity to reinvest at the higher rates as our current securities mature. This slide demonstrates policy compliance. You can see that all of our various investment types are well within policy compliance. The white bar demonstrates the total amount or percentage of the portfolio each investment type could own. We could have 100% in U.S. Treasuries if we chose. The blue bar shows how much we actually have, so we're well within our compliance. And lastly, this slide just demonstrates the allocation over 4 quarters. Oftentimes as securities mature and new investments are purchased, the allocation changes slightly based on where there's value in the market. And that's all I have for you. Do you have any questions today?
Okay. Things are looking pretty good, huh? Pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any question for Joe, guys? Team? Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, that was our last item. Next is adjournment. So, we don't have a workshop. We got a lot of stuff coming up with us in the next month or so around the budget. So, we adjourn until our council meeting at 7. So, thank you.
We've heard a lot about 5G cellular. The council passed some design standards for these for this equipment. This is something that the cell industry has been very active in. They actually lobbied the federal government to get rules that limit the city's ability to charge fees for their permits and institute timeline requirements that are not local, they're federal. So we have what's called a shot clock every time